How we doing, everybody, and welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is Monday, June 17th, a fantastic Monday, June 17th, if I do say so myself. Great weekend, some decent weather, I guess, around the state. Decent. We'll go decent with the weather. I was down at the Brewer game on Saturday. We'll get more into the Brewers, but I was down at the Brewer game on Saturday, had the roof open. Nice weather for that. Turnaround on Sunday, lots of rain. I was coaching a tournament all weekend too, so that got the games in Friday and Saturday. Sadly, tournament was rained out on Sunday, so we didn't get to see really anything about where we were going to place or anything like that in the tournament. So it kind of sucked. The boys were a little upset with that. My little 9U boys were a little upset with that. But hey, we move on. We get our next game. We get out and kick some butt, right? That's all you can say. So, I mean, great weekend. All the way around. Lots of stuff happening in all of sports. Lots of stuff happening. I got some of the major headlines that I wanted to talk about while also diving into the Brewers a little bit there and look over that weekend series there. So right away, I want to look at the Badger football team landed a big commit. A 2025 commit over the weekend there. They landed the son of TY Hilton, former NFL player TY Hilton, played with the Colts a little bit there, landed his son there. I believe his name is Eugene Hilton Jr. Eugene, that is quite the name. Eugene. Interesting. Eugene Hilton Jr. there, 4-star prospect, going to be joining the Badgers. I mean, watching his announcement video was, very exciting. Like, gets you motivated, right, to watch some Badger football there. But Hilton, he was ranked as the number 63 wideout in the class of 2025, also the number 7 prospect from the state of Indiana. Had offers from Georgia, Arkansas, Michigan, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Kansas before he actually ended up coming to the Badgers there. So Badgers snuck him out over top of some of the blue bloods, some of the big dogs there in college football. In 10 games during his junior season, Hilton had 46 catches for 836 yards, 10 touchdowns. And before that, in his sophomore season, he had 49 catches for 598 yards and 5 touchdowns in that sophomore year there. I mean, looking at those numbers that he's been putting up, not just in his sophomore year, but in his junior year there, the increase in yards, this guy is, quick. He's very knowledgeable, right? Very knowledgeable, very quick on his feet, thinking out there, making things happen, right? And he's a shifty guy. He is a shifty guy who finds open spots in the field and can make things happen there. So, looking at it, he said, talking to Steve Wiltfong on on3.com, he said, talking to Luke Fickle, he said, "We built a great connection over time. I think this weekend helped me learn a lot more about them and kind of just be closer. I think that it helped me cut out some other schools, see what schools I wanted to keep, and see if they checked off all the boxes that I have." He added that he would definitely consider committing to Wisconsin after going there and seeing everything they had to offer. That's what he said before making the commitment there. The Badgers' 2025 recruiting efforts have paid off. They're right now sitting number 12 in the country after that commitment there by Hilton. That's going to be one of the best recruiting classes they've had in a while there. 2024, it looks like Fickle's class currently ranks number 25 in the country. So, you're getting better, right? Getting better year by year. Now we're up to number 12. Hopefully see that trend continue there with the Badgers' recruiting efforts. You got to look at transfers too, but in the recruiting efforts. Looking at T.Y. Hilton, he was in college, actually went to Florida International, and was named the 2010 Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year. So looking at that perspective, you have Eugene coming in, a little bit bigger of a conference, right? Joining the Big Ten, a lot of good teams in the Big Ten, and trying to make his own success in the Big Ten. Maybe following the footsteps of a guy like we saw from Ohio State, Marvin Harrison, right? I don't know if Eugene's going to turn out to be that same skill set, but they're kind of similar. And you look at the two makeups of them, height, body, everything like that. They're very similar in the way that they play the game at the wideout position. So you can make the comparison between Marvin Harrison and Eugene Hilton. Now, is that saying that Eugene will be as good as what we saw Marvin Harrison turn out to be. That's a wait and see kind of thing, right? I mean, he's still going to be a senior this next year, so it's a wait and see kind of thing with Eugene yet. But just looking at the two, similar in their games and everything like that, not over the top speed, but enough to get it done. Shifty, can make things happen with their legs. They are good around. They're a ball hawk, right? They're a ball hawk. Good at, you put it in the general vicinity, they're going to haul it in. Very similar, eerily similar between those two guys. So that would be my comparison that I would make, just going off of recent Big Ten wideouts compared to who I would see him comparing to. That'd be Marvin Harrison there. So, good stuff there coming out of the Wisconsin Badgers football team there. They continue to add to that 2025 recruiting class. It continues to get better and better, right? Better and better. Add that to the 2024 class, and what they have now for younger guys. You could see this team potentially blossom up there and be a formidable force there in the Big Ten in a couple years here. So Badgers land a big commitment there. The Mavs get a big win. And this is, I guess it doesn't really make sense for me to say that it wasn't a big win because they avoided the sweep. They ended up winning game 4 over top of the Boston Celtics there. And, to say that this is where we're at in this series, I would not have guessed it myself. But it was a rout. It was a rout there in game 4. 122-84 was the final score there. The Mavs just completely came out, shooting the lights out of the building. The Celtics they went cold. They went cold right away in this one, and then there wasn't a lot of starters playing in this one for the Celtics. Tatum, everybody else kind of got pulled early in this game here. Tatum still finished with 15. Holiday had 10, 3 for Horford, 6 for Derek White, and then Jaylen Brown had 10. Elsewhere, we saw Pritchard get 11. We saw Sam Hauser, Wisconsin native, Stevens Point native, Sam Hauser. He goes for 14, 4 for 6 from downtown for him there. 14 for 41 from the three-point arc for the Celtics in that one. That, ain't going to win many games if you're the Boston. This is a team in Boston that when they get hot, and it's hard to slow them down. And when you go 14 for 41, well, it makes it a little bit easier. If you are the Mavs to defend that. So we see the Mavs survive, force game 5 back up in Boston. They're going to play game 5 there, and they're going to need Kyrie Irving to show up once again. We saw him show up in this game here, 21 points for Kyrie. We saw 29 out of Luka in that game. We also saw off the bench there, Tim Hardaway and Lively go for 15 and 11 apiece, and then 10 for Exum in this game here. Not usually a guy who plays, but, they're going to need the same contributions plus more if they're going to beat Boston in Boston. They're going to need P.J. Washington to get going. Jones, Gafford's going to have to be big for him there and play big in the post area. Because I would imagine, I don't know, I was just going to check that out there, the injury status of Kristaps Porzingis for this game 5. I am not sure. He was out game 4. I'm not sure. They're waiting right now on his status. They don't know the status of him for game 5. This was an injury that is similar, eerily similar to what we saw with Giannis. And Giannis was not able to come back for weeks on end, right? We didn't see Giannis for the rest of the year. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Porzingis. If we do see Porzingis again, I would imagine we will. I haven't heard anything else, about the injury. Maybe it's one of those things like the Bucks did with Giannis, and they kept telling people that he might be back, and then he never was. Do we see something like that? I don't know. I don't know. This is going to be quite the enticing game 5 there. The Boston fans, they're all kinds of rowdy up. I saw at the watch party the other night, they were fighting each other. They lost one game, first game in a while, so they, turn on each other. That's the best way to do it. I don't know. But, it was a good game 4 for the Mavs, but is it too little too late, right? Is it too little too late for the Mavs? Because now you have Boston back in Boston. Even if you win game 5, let's just say hypothetically you win game 5. You now make it 3-2, right? Now it's 3-2 in the series. You go back to Dallas for game 6, but you have to win 2 more games in Boston, right? And for a team to be able to do that, that's tough. That is really tough. If you would have started out this series with a win, if you would have got a win in game 2 and you were down, let's just say 2-1 heading into game 4, a little bit different of a story, at home, playing for game 4 there. A little bit different of a story. But now you're down 3-1. You're traveling back to Boston and trying to pull off a miracle. And Kyrie's been here before. I mean, if we're really going to put it into perspective, Kyrie's been here before. The Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. He knows how to dig a team out of a hole. He's been a part of it before. Do they have the supporting cast? I think they have talent on this Mavs team. I really do. I think there's a boatload of talent, young talent, right? And I shouldn't say a boatload. There's young talent. There's role players who are and then there's Luka and Kyrie, right? Those are your two stars. Outside of that, Gafford's a role player. Derek Jones Jr., role player. PJ Washington, role player. Looking at the bench, lively, young, talented, but young, right? And, I mean, right now, classified as basically a role player. A lot of role players, 2 stars. You look over at the Celtics. I mean, honestly, I want to say that, this could have been a series, but I'll be honest with you. You look at the 2 rosters. If Boston does not win this thing in 5, does that almost scream that Boston kind of screwed the pooch, right? Because you look at Boston. I mean, man, you got Tatum. You have Brown. You have Holiday. You have, Derek White's a pretty good player, right? Not saying that he's a star, but he's a pretty good player. And you also have Horford usually coming off the bench. You have Porzingis if he does play, if he's healthy, right? You got to put that into perspective, even though a lot of Boston, Indiana Pacers, everybody else's fans didn't want to put it into perspective when the Bucks got knocked out. But we'll put it into perspective now. If the Celtics lose a couple games here, we'll put it into, we don't have Porzingis. It's like, but, the Bucks fans couldn't use the excuse that we didn't have Damian Lillard healthy, or we didn't have Middleton healthy, or we didn't have Giannis healthy. We can't use the excuse, but you guys can. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. But, all the way around, this series should have been Boston's. It should be Boston's yet. Like, I don't want to shoot on Mavs fans. I don't like the Celtics. So, personally, I am all for the Mavs in this series. I wanted them to win. I cheer for them to win. That's just how it is. And I got to be honest with you, I just don't see a path. I don't. I just think you think star power to star power. You think defensively. You think getting after guys. That is right up the Celtics' alley right now. They have all the star power. They have the athleticism. They have the ability to get after guys. Luka is a great offensive player. He's a fantastic offensive player. He is one of the only guys with a chance to touch some of the records that you could say like LeBron has or anything like that. He is one of the only guys with that chance offensively. But defensively, he's a liability. He is. Truth be told. You can't deny it. I like the player. I like Luka. I really do. But end of the day, defensively, the guy is not there for you. So now it comes down to, can the Celtics take advantage of that? And I thought they did early on in the series. I thought, game 4, they couldn't knock down shots. Let's see what they do in game 5, right? Let's see what they do in game 5. I imagine a lot of iso ball on him. I imagine a lot of iso ball trying to get by him there. And I hope the Mavs can, for basketball's sake, I hope the Mavs can extend it a game. Because if you really look at it, you look at the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals, one ended 4-1, the other one ended in a sweep. Like, people want to watch some basketball here. We've had a really shortened up playoffs because of a lot of sweeps and everything like that. And you're going to have it. You're going to have that. I'm not saying that you won't have a sweep here or there or whatever. But we've had a lot of major blowouts, a lot of overpowered teams and everything like that. And we're seeing it again. This Boston team, they shouldn't be touched by the Mavs. And the Mavs were able to get to them in game 4. Game 5 is going to be tough. Game 5 is going to be tough. I don't care if it was in Dallas, if it was in Boston, wherever it is. It's even tougher that it's in Boston. And if Boston loses again, those Boston fans are going to fight each other. There's going to be a brawl in the streets. They don't even care. They don't even care who's who. They're going to be like, I'm fighting you because you're just you. Boston fans are crazy. They're a crazy group. It's like you don't win a championship for like 2 years and they go ballistic. It's like they forget. They forget about all the Patriots Super Bowls and all the Celtics rings back in the day and everything else. They just go ballistic when they don't win a championship for a couple years. It's like, come to Milwaukee. Come to Wisconsin, right? I mean, we don't have a World Series. We have the NBA Finals. We're the most recent. Before that, we had the Packers, right? Way back in the 10s. That's it. We've been on the cusp of things for years. Cusp of the World Series in 2018 for the Brewers. Cusp of the finals. Seems like every year we should be in the race and we get knocked out, usually by the Heat, right? The first round's been a nightmare. First round's been a nightmare. Otherwise, the Packers. I mean, you have the play against Seattle. You have this 49ers game last year. You have the 49ers game before that. You have the Buccaneers game before that. I mean, you got all kinds of games that you look back on. It's like, we should be the fans that are going absolutely ballistic over here, not the Boston fans. They're just a little bit loopy, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, no shots at Boston fans, but shots at Boston fans there. So, I mean, with that, Mavs, Boston, going to be squaring off. That'll be game 5. Will be happening tonight here. That'll be a 7:30 tip there on ABC for that one. That'll be in Boston from the Garden there for that one. So with that, before we get to some sponsors, before we get to the Brewers, I got to get to, it seems like they're in the news way too much. And it's not. Before I get there, I did see Gordon Ramsay was in an accident, apparently with his bike. And if you haven't seen the video of the injuries that he sustained, holy cats. Gordon Ramsay was roughed up after that biking incident there. He had a life-threatening bike accident, so prayers to him that he has a healthy recovery there. Because man, oh man, there ain't nothing better than watching him on some TV. What is it, Hell's Kitchen? When he's on there and he's yelling at people and he's screaming at people to figure out how to cook a risotto. It's like, geez Louise. Like, from the video I saw, I mean, him talking about it, and he shows the injury and everything to his side and, everything that happened. It's like, holy cat. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out there. But prayers to the Gordon Ramsay there. Son of a gun. I just saw that as I was looking through to see my other topic there. And that was the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. They're at it again, right? They're at it again. You thought just maybe that at some point here, we'd get over ourselves. We would all become friends. We'd realize that there's only one reason why people are watching the WNBA, why people are, tuning in, spending money on it and everything else. We thought we would get over that factor. Well, we haven't. Truth be told, we haven't. And we saw Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark square off. It's like part 4. And what we realize slowly is that Caitlin Clark has a residence inside of Angel Reese's head. She's currently living in there. She is just all over in there. If you want to buy the house that she's currently staying in, it's about a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, right? One in the downstairs, one upstairs, and one in the basement, right? There's 3 bathrooms in there. You can stay there, right? Because Angel Reese is welcoming her in every single day. Because the Fever win this game 91-83, right? 91-83. Fever get 2 games. They win 2 games in a row for the first time all season long. Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark finally look like they're starting to click, and it is starting to look good for the Indiana Fever. Maybe they start turning around, but that wasn't the storyline that came out of this game. You want to see, these two just be able to square off, and the storyline that comes out of it is just a good basketball game. Well, it's not. The storyline coming out of here is Angel Reese on a Caitlin Clark drive to the basket, right? She's driving to the basket. Angel Reese comes across. She's going for a block, right? She's going for a block. And I don't know. I've seen a lot of blocks in my day. A lot of blocks on YouTube, in basketball, watching the game, ESPN, wherever I'm watching now. I've seen a lot of blocks, right? And, generally, you either hit the arm or you hit the ball, right? With force. You hit it. And sometimes you get called for a foul, sometimes you don't. Like, it just happens, right? It's going to happen. Well, Angel Reese goes up for a block. Not even in the area code. Not even in the area code of this ball. And she whacks Caitlin Clark across the head, right? Whacks across the head. That's automatic. As far as I know, any contact to the head, that's automatic. You get a flagrant, right? So she gets a flagrant on the play. And of course, Angel Reese being Angel Reese, she's all kinds of pissy about it after the game. And I'm surprised she didn't tell us about her past and how she was, this happened to her and this happened to her, so we'd all feel bad. No, she didn't do any of that. She tried to make us feel bad, but she didn't do it in that context this time. She goes, it was a basketball play. I can't control the refs. I'm always going for the ball. Darling. Barbie, that's what they call her, Barbie. Bayou Barbie, right? Bayou Barbie. You should have hunted alligators instead of playing basketball because you have a better shot there. But, I mean, watching that play, and I watched it a couple times, right? And even she's like, yeah, people are going to play this like 20 times before Monday. It's like, okay, first off, you're asking for bad publicity because before the game, she puts on these stupid shoes. And I know I don't want to be the guy to, call clothing and everything like that stupid. But she puts on these stupid shoes. And they have a laughing face all over them on the bottoms. And they say, ha-ha. Like all over the place. Say, ha-ha. She's trying to embrace the bad guy, mojo vibe. Like, that's how she wants to be. She wants to be that person to the league. You can be that person, right? But then at the same time, you can't try to put yourself in the same context and same light as players who are playing the game, right? And she goes on to say, I guess some people got a special whistle. Again, darling, Bayou darling, whatever you want to call yourself. You got to put it into perspective here. There's articles out there saying that she doesn't get whistles and that there's a lot of crap that isn't being called for her. So special people get special whistles. LeBron James got special whistles, right? He still does. There's stars that get special whistles. She doesn't get special whistles. You clocked her across the head. Across the head. All you had to state in your post-game interview was that I went for the ball. I got her across the head. It's not my intention, but it happened. That was the consequence. We move on with life. Simple. It's so simple, and people aren't talking about it. Because then people are like, we get it. It happens. It happens. I have seen guys go for blocks and they end up hitting a guy across the head. It happens, right? You end up hitting a guy. You end up bodying a guy. I am not going to sit here and tell you that does not happen in some way, shape, or form. But what I will say is when it does happen, and after the game, all you can say is that special people get special whistles. That's your answer to it. That's your answer to a blatant, flagrant foul, right? Because you whacked her across the head. That's flagrant foul. Doesn't matter if you're playing the men's or the women's. It's flagrant foul. So your answer to that is, well, special people get special whistles. I'm just always going for the ball, and the refs, I can't control the refs. Like, I'm just going for the ball. It's a basketball play. Who cares? It's a basketball play. Fine. But you hit it across the head. That's a flagrant. That's a foul. That's a foul all day long. Doesn't matter if you're playing the NBA. Doesn't matter if you're playing WNBA. That's foul. So, but instead of owning up to it, and this is what I want to say, instead of owning up to it, we just make excuses. That it's the refs. That it's special whistles. That's the problem. That's why you're not in the same spotlight as Caitlin Clark. That's why people don't want to watch you. They want to hear about you because you bring Caitlin Clark even higher. That's what I hope. That's what I see when I hear it. It's like every time she talks, she puts Caitlin Clark even more in the news and even more in the news. So if you're trying to boost her up even more, good job. You're doing a heck of a job on your end. Because there are stratospheres to players right now in the WNBA. Kelsey Plum, Sabrina, they're fantastic. They're fantastic basketball players. But people are watching Caitlin Clark, right? So these women, they just need to embrace that. And I know it's a lot to ask, but it's a simple game. If she left, which at some points I just wish she would do. Because if she left for a year and went over, let's just say she says, to heck with it. I'm done with the way this game's being played. I'm done with, because all I hear in post games and everything like that is, Caitlin Clark trash talks. I'm not going to say she doesn't trash talk, but she doesn't do it after the game, in the post games. If you listen to her post game interviews, there is so much bringing up of other players and talking about other players highly. And then you listen to these other girls and it's like, well, yeah, all she can do is shoot threes. All she can do is, it's like she trash talks. I get it. She does it on the floor. She doesn't do it behind closed doors. She doesn't do it in front of the cameras. She doesn't do it trying to start a Twitter war. She does it in front of you. She does it in your face. I would love for her to just get sick of it. And she's like, you know what? This European league over here, they're offering me this to go play over there. I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to go over there. And then she leaves. I would love to see what the viewership does. I would love to see what all this money that, Angel Reese is bringing into the league, right? All these women are bringing in this money. These random viewers that just showed up. Oh, yeah, they're all just realizing that this is here, right? We sound like Kamala Harris now telling us that we just found out that the NCAA women's have just got a bracket in it was just a couple years ago. And it was like, no. Like it was like 15 years ago that we decided to make a women's NCAA tournament bracket. But okay, thank you for not knowing what in the actual hell you're talking about. But I mean, it's like that. Exactly like that. They just showed up. I just showed up, right? I didn't tune into the WNBA before. I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I'm blatantly honest when I say it. I am blatantly honest. I did not watch the WNBA. But when Caitlin Clark was in college, I didn't watch women's basketball in college women's basketball. I love college basketball. I watch college basketball more than I watch the NBA. I watch women's college basketball more than I watch the WNBA, right? I watched Caitlin Clark. That's when I really tuned into the NCAA women's, was for Caitlin Clark, to watch her go through the tournament. Every single game, it was like another one of those. It was like, I can't wait to see what she does today kind of things, right? She came into the league. She brought viewership in. The day that they can accept that will be the day that the WNBA finally gets back to the forefront, finally gets up to the forefront of something, right? Right now, they're making headlines for the wrong reason. They're making headlines for Caitlin Clark is this, Caitlin Clark is that. What happened to Caitlin Clark today when she got bodied by, what's her name? I can't even remember. That tells you how, I can't even remember. The girl who just a week or two ago, just bodied her. I can't even remember her name. That tells you how relevant it is. I didn't know who she was before that. I don't know who she is now, right? So it's almost like humble yourself. Be grateful, right? That this young star is putting your name out there once again. Because once you came out of college basketball, and maybe some people watched you in college, once you came out of there, you became an afterthought to a lot of people. And that's the sad truth. It is the sad truth. Should it be that way? I don't think so. But it is. It's a sad truth of the WNBA. So now she brings the light back. She's shining the light on all these athletes. And everybody's like, hey, there is some athletes in this game outside of Caitlin Clark, but in all reality, she's the one we're here to watch, right? She brought them into the building. And it's just ridiculous to see all the crap that's got to happen just because some girls can't get over themselves. That is the worst part about this entire thing. So, that's all I got with that. I didn't know if maybe you guys saw, the clip. Maybe you were watching the game. Maybe you were there to watch Angel Reese. I don't know. Maybe you were watching the whole thing. Whatever it was. And maybe you saw it already, but I just want to give my opinion out there. on that whole situation. So with that, I want to get to the Brewers. We got to get to the Brewers yet today. But before we get there, I want to mention some sponsors of the show here quick. First, Game Day Supply in Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Marshfield Motor Speedways, located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. You got to get down there this summer. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. Nothing better than a great race on a great summer night. So Marshfield Motor Speedways there, located in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy, Sue, or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell. Find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Sports Scene, Sports Cards, and Memorabilia, located in the Marshfield Mall in Marshfield, Wisconsin. You got to get down there and see Al. He has everything you need, from sporting cards to memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars, everything you need as a sports enthusiast. He has it at the store, and if he doesn't, he'll help you find it. Sports Scene in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin. And also Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether it was at work, whether it was mowing the lawn, weeding the garden, whatever it was, if you were injured and you felt something that you were like, man, I need to go see a physical therapist, stop in there or call down to Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood. Talk to Chad. Talk to his receptionist. Then she'll let you talk to Chad. He will get you right. He'll get you back to work, back mowing the lawn, back wherever it is. Whatever you're doing, he'll get you back there. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin there. But with that, we got to get to the Brewers. A great weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds. Started out on Friday. Brewers end up taking the loss on Friday. A close one, a controversial ending that not really controversial as much as confusing, right? Confusing in that one. Brewers lose 6-5. They lose 6-5 in that one. Reds jumped out early, 1-0 lead. Brewers answered back. Then they went up 2-1. Then it went up 5-1, 5-2. They added on 1 in the 6th. Brewers added on 1 in the 6th. They made it 6-3. Brewers battle back in the bottom of the 9th, add 2 runs, had another shot, ended up getting thrown out at the plate, and then we saw a ill-advised, not knowing the situation 100%, bunt attempt by Blake Perkins. Now, listening to Blake, seeing what he had to say on the situation, he simply said, I had some high average hitters coming up behind me. I was in the situation statistically, he said the higher average guys come up behind me. I just wanted to get on and maybe try to push across the run in the process. So he was trying to lay down that bunt. Well, first pitch, ends up bunting it straight up in the air, gets caught, ball game over, just like that. Ill-advised. Pat Murphy was confused. Everybody was confused. Pat had Blake Perkins back, and understanding the situation. He's young. Things like that are going to happen. Ended up, they talked about it. Let bygones be bygones. Everything was good on that end there. And, just basically talking it out. Young guy, still young. A rookie last season, right? Still young and not completely understanding what he wanted him to do in that situation there. So Freddie Peralta gets roughed up in that game. Freddie Peralta has had a couple of outings now that make you nervous. Make you really nervous if you are, honestly, because you look at his last couple outings there against Cincinnati, Detroit, and the White Sox. Now, you're talking about 3 teams there who aren't even in the spectrum of, let's just say, like the Dodgers, the Braves, the Phillies, the Cardinals. You could go through a couple different teams out there. Like these teams that Freddie Peralta has been facing, not really in that spectrum. If it was only one game, I would get it. But we look at a 3-game span here. This last time out, this one against Cincinnati, 5 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Game before that against the Tigers, 3 1/3 inning, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Game before that, Chicago White Sox, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. The walks against Detroit were a problem. But guys are seeing Freddie. Guys are making it hurt when they do get a good pitch from Freddie Peralta. That's the worrisome part. Freddie is not fooling hitters. Freddie's location isn't great right now, and Freddie is getting roughed up. 2 home runs given up against this Reds lineup. Not great day. Not a great day by any means. Milner did have a great bounce back, though, in that game. We've seen Milner struggle for a little while now. We've seen a struggle out of Hobie Milner. And he came in for Freddie there after that 5 1/3 inning. He came in for 2/3 of an inning. There's zeros across the board. And then we saw Elise Hernandez come in. 3 innings, 1 walk, and 0 scattered across the board for Hernandez. So great to see him possibly finding a role with the Brewers. I don't know if he's going to develop into a starter for them, but we see him go a little bit of extended innings there. 3 innings, ends up getting out of some jams and everything like that and making things happen for himself there. So good stuff out of Hernandez there. For the Brewers hitting-wise, I mean, Contreras 2 for 5, Yelich 2 for 4, 2 for 3 from Churro. He continues that hot stretch of baseball there. And we saw RBIs out of Churro, Joey Ortiz in that one, and also Adames and Contreras there. Adames with a hit in that game. All the way around, a rough one. The ending was rough. End up sending Jake Bauers home on a hit. Bauers ends up getting thrown out at the plate. I've never seen a play like that, though. The catcher wasn't blocking the plate. He wasn't blocking the plate. He ended up getting the ball. And once you have the ball, you can be where you want. And he had the ball. He dove across the plate. Bauers went for the outside of the plate. Ended up, and this is the part that I didn't get, was the offhand. I can't remember if it was Stevenson who was catching or if it was Maley who was catching. Stevenson was catching in that one. Stevenson's using his offhand away from the glove, and he has it on Bauers like he's pushing him. Like he's almost pushing him away from the plate. I've never seen that before. You know, that was different. I didn't know what should have been called in that situation. You know, you couldn't tell if that little bit of a, attempt of a push was it maybe deterred Bauers away from the plate, because Bauers, he ended up hitting the glove, going for the base, which then was why he was out. If he had missed the glove, he was safe, because the only thing that was touching him was the offhand, the off glove hand of Stevenson. I just thought it was an interesting situation because I've never seen that. I've never seen a catcher reach out with the opposite hand and kind of push the guy away from the base there. Now, Stevenson's coming across. Bauers is diving to the outside. I mean, the force of Stevenson coming forward, that could be enough to actually deter Bauers' path to the plate by pushing him. I guess, they went to instant replay. There wasn't enough to overturn it or to, call. They overturned the call because I believe they called him safe at first. But it wasn't enough to, cause an interference call. Right, but I've never seen something like that. That was baffling to me. So that was a little bit of a controversial call there late. Like I said, I've never seen it, so I don't know if you could call it interference. All I know is that the guy's opposite arm was pushing Bauers away from the plate, which then almost screams to me interference, right? It almost screams to me interference. So I thought that was definitely an interesting end of the ball game there. That, and then you had Blake Perkins pop-up bunt on the next one. So maybe he was trying to catch him off guard, like he said. He was trying to catch him off guard there. Maybe that's what was going on, but definitely a crazy ending to Friday night's game. That led to Saturday's matchup there. This is the one I was at. This is the one I ended up attending there. The 3-1 finish there. I tell you what, I did not expect Snoop Dogg. We're sitting there, right? And they had a guy from Nicollet Law come out, and they had a couple other people come out, throw out first pitches. And it was like, yeah, okay. Not really paying attention or anything. And then all of a sudden, they dropped one of Snoop Dogg's songs up. And it's like, what is going on, right? And all of a sudden, you see him walking out. And it's like, oh, my goodness. Like, this is something like this is different. This is like not something that happens every day. Just surprise. That was a surprise. That was a big-time surprise there, and he comes walking out, throws out the first pitch. That was the loudest I've heard American Family Field in a little bit when he when he came out. That was crazy, and ended up going up into the booth with Brian Anderson and Bill Schroeder and listening to those guys. If you haven't listened to it, you have to get onto YouTube, look up Snoop Dogg in Brewers commentary, or, find the video. Find it, because you will bust out laughing. That was hilarious. I found it after, because we didn't know where he went. After he left the field, we had, you can't see anything or anything like that. And it ended up, they showed it up on the big screen then, Snoop Dogg sitting up there with Brian Anderson and Bill Schroeder, and it was just awesome. It was awesome. Almost as awesome. I got a new cup. I was walking, we ended up going to get some popcorn. Me and the wife went up, got some popcorn, went down to the game with my grandma, cousin, and my wife down there, and went up getting some popcorn. I'm walking by, and I see this, it was like a pink drink, right? And didn't really think anything of it. But then I'm looking at the cup, and it's like this big, tall, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a baseball bat. And on the end of it, where the knob would be, it's a baseball. Like a half a baseball on the bottom there where it sets down. And I was walked past, and all of a sudden I'm looking back at it, and I'm like, I want one of them. I want the cup, right? Well, ended up going back, and I was like, well, now I got to drink this thing, right? I don't even know what it is, right? I didn't ask what it was. Take it back. Everybody's trying it. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. So I drank the whole thing there. Well, that roughed me up. Apparently it's a strawberry daiquiri. I don't even know what that is. But it roughed me up. But all the way around, it was a great game. Great experience, right? Great. Always great when you get to the Brewer game there. We sat up in section 117, row 9, so we're pretty darn close to the action, too. So it was all the way around a great game to get down to there. Sal Frelick bobblehead night. Sal Frelick didn't even play on his bobblehead night. I was like, just throw him out there in the 9th, right? Just throw him out there in the 9th for churro or something. Throw him out in right field, make it happen. But Joey Ortiz had the big swing, the only runs, the big 3-run home run there for the Brewers. Yelich goes 2 for 4. Sanchez had a hit there for the Brewers. 4 hits in total. 1 by Sanchez, 1 by Ortiz, and 2 by Yelich. That's all we saw in the night there. 7 strikeouts for the Brewers, 3 walks in total. Jared Koenig was the opener, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, zeros across the board. Bryce Wilson looked great after that, 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, zeros for him. Brian Hudson looked fantastic once again. I mean, this guy, if he ain't in the All-Star game, it's rigged. It is definitely rigged. 2 innings pitched for Hudson there, 2 strikeouts, got that ERA down to 0.2 or 0.95 for him there. And then Trevor McGill, he locked her down, got the save. Didn't lock it down, got a little dicey at the end, but ended up getting the save. An inning pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 walk. Trevor McGill gets the save for the Brewers there. So a good game 2 of the series. Bryce Wilson gets the win. Abbott takes the loss, and McGill got the save there. Then set up the rubber match. The Sunday action there for the Brewers. A 5-4 finish. The Brewers win that one. 8 hits apiece for both teams in that game there. Brewers, they fell behind early to this team. 3 runs for the Reds early on. First, third, and fourth inning. They had a run apiece in each inning. Brewers answered back, though, in the 5th. Got a run, got 3 runs in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. Reds ended up tacking one on in the 8th inning there, but that wasn't enough as the Brewers won 5-4. Colin Ray took the win for the Brewers. Sims took the loss for the Reds, and McGill got another save in that one there. I mean, the biggest thing coming out of that one, Willie Adames hits a 3-run home run. That was the big swing of the bat in this one. But one of the other big swings in this game, Christian Yelich with a safety squeeze. That is what you got to love about the small ball era of Brewer baseball, of Pat Murphy coaching up this team, was the safety squeeze. Yelich and Terang brought in a run for the Brewers late in this one, and that ended up being the difference in this game here. We saw Frelick, he got hot, 2 for 4 in this one. Joey Ortiz, 1 for 3, 1 for 4 from Adames, 1 for 3 for Yelich, 2 for 4 for Contreras, and 1 for 3 for Terang for those 8 hits, 10 strikeouts, and 4 walks in this game for the Brewers. Colin Ray, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 runs in total, 1 walk, 1 home run given up, and 6 strikeouts. Paredes, a third of an inning there, 1 walk. We saw Jared Koenig in 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 strikeout, and a home run given up there. Payamps for an inning there, 2 hits, and 1 strikeout. And McGill came in then for the save. 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. The play of the game, though, Blake Perkins from center field tosses just a dart to home plate and gets him out at the plate there. Contreras ends up taking quite the shot there to the head, and it looks like, according to Pat Murphy, and we don't know if this is going to be the truth, but this is what we were told. We all saw the last play of the game. Bad news is that due to concussion protocol, we may not have him for tomorrow's game, per Pat Murphy. So not sure what's going to be with Contreras, if he's going to get a day off tomorrow, possibly a couple days off, according to concussion protocol there. But a great play all the way around. Great play by Contreras to hang on to it. He ended up getting up. He was smiling. It seemed like it was all good. So hopefully everything checks out with Contreras and he's back in the lineup as soon as possible there. But with that, Brewers, they're back in action. That's coming up tonight here. They're going to be taking on the Los Angeles Angels. That'll be an 8:30. What in the Sam H-E double hockey sticks is going on with the start times in Major League Baseball? We have an 8:38 start for 3 straight games. I hope that's a typo that I'm reading right now. 8:38. I got to go look this up now. I'm on the MLB. I'm on the MLB website right now. I'm going to look on ESPN. It is not a lie. This game literally starts at 8:38. What have we come to? Why can't it be 8:40? Why can't it be a normal time? 8:38 is the stupidest thing I've heard. So besides that, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But we will see Carlos Rodriguez make his second start there for the Brewers. He's slated to go up against Soriano in that game coming up tonight. So hopefully see Rodriguez continue to pitch well. Brewers have never seen Soriano yet outside of Sanchez. He has currently he has a 0 average, 1,000 OPS right now, and zeros across the board. So Sanchez is the only guy who's seen Soriano so far there for the Angels. So great series coming up with the Angels there. A little bit of a West Coast tilt before they come back home for the Rangers and the Cubs there. So with that, that's all I got for today. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you guys go down into the description of this episode, you will see send a message on the bottom there. Click that. You can send fan mail. You can let me know anything that you're thinking out there in Wisconsin sports, any questions you would like me to answer on the show, anything like that. So just go down in the description. You can definitely enter it in there. But with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.